Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah Lipkowitz. I'm a real estate agent based in Montgomery County, Maryland. Today I am here at my farm that I purchased just this year. This is Curry, and I wanted to do a little bit of a farm tour. It's not totally ready for a full property tour. I have a lot of projects, and that is just what I wanted to talk about today. I think this is a little bit of a reality check. I work with farm buyers and home buyers, and a lot of people are buying their first farms and their first homes, and there's always projects to be done. Thanks, buddy. I'll talk a little bit about some of the projects I have going on in the house today, but I want to focus on some of my farm projects. As you can see, this fence probably needs to be replaced in the next year. I did some fencing right before I moved my horses home. I did a significant amount of fencing actually, and everything else is getting replaced next year. But I think it's really easy to get caught up in that dream, and that keeps you going, so it's important. But I think it's really also very important as an agent that I walk through properties and I point out projects to my clients so they can get an understanding of how long it's going to take, how much it's going to cost. And now having my own farm, I have an opportunity to walk you through some of the projects that I have going on right now and some of the timelines for those projects, because some of them are happening this year, some of them are happening next year, some of them are happening in the next 5 years, and so on and so forth. So I definitely wanted to walk you through some of that today, and hopefully you enjoy. So behind me I have the new fencing that I put in, and this is 5-strand coated horse wire. It's hot on the top and the second from the bottom. And I did my 2 main pasture perimeters in it. I had to do it before I moved my horses home. A lot of the farm was actually like gates tied together and livestock fencing with metal stakes. It was kind of a lot of things happening, and I didn't trust that my horses would respect certain spots of it, and frankly, a lot of it wasn't safe. So I had them replace this. I actually had Maryland Horse Fencing do it. They got this done in 2 days, which we'll take a little walk so you can see the extent of it, but it was pretty impressive. They did a ton of clearing for me. They cleared this out a bit so I could actually see my pond. They also gave me back a fair bit of pasture over there, and they took down some dead trees, some cherries that are poisonous to horses, things like that. And I'm pretty happy with this. I will probably use this on the rest of my perimeter fencing for my paddock up there. This is more cost effective for large stretches than 3-board fencing. My dry lot, my pool, my backyard, I'll probably do that in 3-board fencing again, because every time you do a change of direction, I believe more than 45 degrees, with this you have to add braces. So for long stretches like the perimeter of my pasture, the 5-strand coated horse wire, it's really, really durable and it's cost effective. And I was really worried too, having to replace boards a lot, because my entire property is surrounded by woods, which makes it very private, but also makes for a lot of maintenance. So I'm pretty happy with this so far. My horses respect it. I can paint the posts black eventually, so that way in the wintertime I don't really have to look at it, and the horses know it's here. They've been out here. I haven't seen anybody test it, so I'm not particularly worried about them not seeing it. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with this. And again, I used Dwayne with Maryland Horse Fencing. His crew came out here and they got this done fast because they knew I couldn't move my horses home until it got done. And so I'm really, really grateful to them. They did really nice work. So this is my main barn. I have a tack room, which is nice. It's got, tile floor and wood paneling, which in a way that I actually like. And then it's got 4 stalls, 3 here that open up to a really large run-in shed and the dry lot. My horses actually live outside. I bring them in each morning to feed them. And if there's really horrible weather, or like on the 4th of July when the neighbors are setting off fireworks, then they'll spend the night in the stall. But otherwise, I really enjoy this barn. The aisleway is a little narrower than I'd like. And I have some projects that I need to get to. I'd like to paint in here. I think it's a little dark. And they left me box fans. I prefer outdoor fans in my barn just because these are really not meant to get dusty and gunked up like this. I worry that they'll start a fire, so I have them unplugged. But I've got a nice big hayloft in here. I've got 4 stalls, and a little feed room. I think something that I may do, and this is more like a 10-year project, I have another newer barn with one stall, and then I actually am using it as tractor storage. I think what I may do in there, just in general actually, is I may take both these barns down at some point and build one larger barn with an indoor wash stall and just maybe a little bit more space. A wider aisleway would be nice. I have one 17 hand horse right now. He's a little bit bigger than that. And I don't plan on getting another one, but even some of the smaller horses, you know, turning around in this aisle is not fun. So something with a little bit more aisle space. But for now, this barn is super functional. It's in great shape. All the electrical is encased, which is really, really important. The people before me really made sure that things were safe. So I'm pretty happy with that. And otherwise, everybody seems really calm here. My horses are really settling in well. They come into their run-in where they have an auto water and a fan. They know whose stall is whose at this point. So in the morning, all I have to do is drop the feed and open up the stall doors, and they go in their respective stalls. So this barn is actually really, really functional. It's just, obviously, I'm a horse person. I like things the way I like them, and eventually I'd like to make some changes. And I think the first thing will be painting, because I think it's a little dark. The other thing I would like to do, there is no driveway to this barn. So you learn something every time you look at a farm. You learn something when you buy a home, when you buy a farm, you learn things all the time. I knew that there was no driveway and that might be a problem down the line. The issue is people are driving across my front lawn and then down across the grass in the paddock to get to the barn. And so if you have to have the vet or the farrier on a rainy day, that's a problem. So that's probably a project that I'll do in the next year, is put down a nice gravel driveway. I have a really big front yard, so I can make the driveway across the yard without it looking weird. And otherwise, I'm pretty happy with this barn on the whole. Every time. So I should stipulate that the mower and the tractor I bought off the seller. I got this mower for like 300 bucks, and all the damage you see to it, I did not do, which is kind of a miracle because I drive it like it's a go-kart. But it smokes sometimes, but it works. I think it needs a new air filter probably, and maybe an oil change. So I'm gonna have somebody come work on that, but it does work. When you try to turn on the blades for the first time, it almost always shuts off. It makes a lot of noise. And as you can see, it stalls out if you try to turn it up too fast, but it works. It gets the job done. It's kind of a duct tape special, but I actually I think it has character. I actually kind of love it, I'm not gonna lie. This is Cam. He's a 3-year-old Highland pony. And right now we're actually in our dry lot. I need to do some weed eating. And you can see there's actually a lot of, they've kind of terraced this, I think, in an effort to save some of the footing. My horses have actually managed just fine. They know where all the step ups and step downs are. And this is something that I probably will take care of in another year. I'll re-level it and put another load of bluestone, probably a few loads of bluestone down in here. And then obviously the fencing in here needs to be replaced too. The fencing on this property, this is actually probably some of the best fencing on the property. A lot of it was kind of a mishmash of all kinds of different fencing, unidentifiable items as well. And I replaced the stuff that was most dire first. All the perimeter fencing here was replaced in the pastures, and next year I'll replace, I have another paddock back there that I'm not using because I don't trust the fencing in it, but I'll replace that, the pool fencing, the backyard fencing, and the dry lot fencing next year. The one nice thing to keep in mind if you are buying a farm in Maryland is the Soil Conservation District will help you with fencing, particularly if it's keeping horses out of a creek. And if it's perimeter fencing, they'll help first-time farmers with perimeter fencing as well, which is awesome. They'll also help you put in auto waters. So some of that's cost sharing, some of that is getting them to actually pay for the majority of it. So something that's definitely worth checking out. And I hope to take advantage of that next year. The one thing you have to keep in mind is that funding takes about 6 months to a year to get. All right, so this is my outdoor arena, and that's my dog Chowder. And it's actually not bad. It's relatively level. It's bluestone mixed with sand. It drains incredibly well. I've never seen any puddles in it. And you can see we have some sticks and stuff because we had a pretty serious storm a few days ago that brought some branches down. But even after that, it really doesn't hold any water. My plan here for the short term, I don't really think I need much new footing. But my plan here, I obviously need to take care of the grass. It's been an uphill battle, and I've been trying not to use pesticide on it if I can avoid it, knowing that it's gonna die off soon anyway. They hadn't had horses here in about a year, so the grass did kind of take over a bit. But my plan here eventually is to probably put a covered arena in, and I think that's probably a 5 to 10 year project. And the reason I'm doing a covered arena and not an indoor is because the covered arena makes it so that you can ride in the rain, the footing doesn't freeze as much in the winter time, but it doesn't make the property feel as overdeveloped as something like an indoor would. I think that's a mistake that a lot of farm owners make, especially when they have something like me, which is, I have a farmette. I have less than 10 acres, and the buildings are all pretty close together. And if you put an indoor arena here, my fear is that, first of all, then my only arena is an indoor, and I like riding outside. And second of all, it'll start to make the lot feel really overdeveloped. So we do need to talk about swimming pools. If you are buying a home or a farm that comes with an in-ground pool, there are a few things you should be aware of. Some of the things are items that I've learned along the way, just the practicality of understanding how many hours and what exactly goes into maintaining it. So this is a pool with a liner, and you can see Chowder went swimming, but technically you're not supposed to let big dogs swim in your liner because it will tear it up. The other thing, when I bought the property, I had to replace the filter and the pump. I replaced the pump with a variable speed pump, which actually pulls like a 60-watt light bulb. And the state did give me a rebate for that, because if everyone who has a swimming pool in the state of Maryland replaced their pump with something more efficient, like a variable speed pump, then they could decrease the size of the power grid substantially. So that's something to know. And the other thing is that you will spend more time cleaning your pool than swimming in it if you don't buy yourself a pool robot. So I got an Alpha IQ. It learns how to clean your pool. You just throw it in, and it spends 2 hours cleaning your pool. I do that once a week. And then you clean out the skimmer basket a couple times a week, and I shock it once a week pretty much. But when we had a heat wave, it definitely got away from me a little bit. It definitely turned a bit green. I had to throw some algicide in it. But I would say anything that you can do to make pool maintenance easier, whether that's hiring a company or getting a pool vacuum, whatever it is, do that, because you will spend a ton of time on your pool. The other thing I'm thinking about doing next year is changing it to a saltwater pool. It's not as expensive as people think it is to switch it over, and it's a little bit less maintenance, and it's nicer on your skin. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I had planned to do that this year, but then I had to replace the pump and the filter. I actually the seller bought me a home warranty, and I actually added the pool to it, because just from looking at it, even though the pool wasn't open, just from looking at the pump and the filter, I knew they were old. So I had them add that. It's really, really nice to have. It's really nice to go from riding or doing, yard work to swimming in the pool. I'm happy to have it. I don't regret having it, but definitely anything that you can do to make your life easier and spend fewer hours working on your pool, you should do that. So in terms of projects in the house, This is one that I'm really, really looking forward to. It's something that's not gonna take a lot of time or money to do, and it's going to help me start to tie things together because a lot of the furniture and items in this house belong to the seller. Some of them I bought from her, some of them she left, but some of it's a little too serious for my taste. So this bar space, I'm about to have a lot of fun with. The ceiling right now is orange with track lights. I plan to paint it a matte black and put a gold light fixture, something kind of fun up there. And then this wall is going to get wallpaper. It's going to be black with Benjamin Franklin blowing bubble gum on it, and I'm really, really excited. It's something that's just gonna bring a little bit of fun. Behind me I have a dining room that's kind of serious, and then in that direction we have the kitchen. So I think it's gonna kind of tie some of the more somber pieces of furniture together with something that's a little bit more irreverent, which is more my style.